Rishi and I genuinely believe in the transformative power of education. And so during our time in Downing Street, every Friday we had young people come from across the country of all different school-going ages, come to Downing Street and learn in a way that was not intimidating, learn in a way that was inspiring, learn in a way that was fun, and confidence building. And I think it's that kind of underpinning that Rishi and I would love to see in the Richmond Project and would love to take into the Richmond Project, that learning can be fun, can be joyful, doesn't just have to be in the classroom, and can be incredibly confidence building. So I think traditional classroom settings have to do a job, and I think not all children feel like they can thrive in that. So with Lessons at 10, it was taking them outside of the classroom, but not taking away the learning. And so we did everything from music to rugby to cooking to maths to coding to writing, but doing it in a way where, for one, it was more applied learning. So okay, we all love fantasy, maybe let's now write a story around it, but let's do it being inspired by some of the paintings in the room that we were sitting in. Or okay, we love watching rugby, we follow rugby, now let's have a go at it, by the way, in the garden in Downing Street. So I think looking at learning outside the traditional classroom setting and doing it in a practical, kind of applied way was quite interesting. Yeah, so it's interesting. Do you know, when I was growing up, I wasn't. I had some of the anxiety that I recognize in other parents, and I said, so the first thing I'd say to parents is, you're not alone. There are a lot of folks who feel that sense of anxiety around numbers or maths, and it really comes to the forefront, I think, when you have young children and they can bring home maths homework from school, and you're thinking you want to do right by your children, and you think, gosh, I'm not good at maths, how am I going to help these young people? So I think the first thing is to recognize you're not alone, and the next thing is to know that numbers are not this great kind of theoretical construct, but actually we use numbers in our everyday lives, whether it's cooking, shopping, budgeting, planning a holiday, timings in everything from when we're at work to when we're cooking. You know, these are all practical applications of numbers, and the beauty about numbers, I think, is not only that they're in our day-to-day life, but also the more we practice, the better we get. So I would say to parents, look, don't feel you're alone. And we can actually tackle it in easier ways than one can imagine it to be. So I think if we look at numbers as being everywhere, in no matter what we're doing in our lives, whether we're an adult, whether we're children, just ease with numbers allows us to lead more empowered lives, for one. What does that mean? You know, we are more in control of our lives. We are able to more fully engage with society. And I think that's important. And that's why this idea of numbers being put to practical use is really important. And again, whether you're a mum, whether you're a pensioner, whether you're a young person in school, whatever job you think of, numbers are genuinely a part of all of that. And so instead of making numbers be this big scary thing, if we break it down and say, look, we're using numbers in our day-to-day life, and let's just become more confident with that, it all just adds up and allows us to feel that we can be more empowered. And I think that's really an important feeling for us all. So Rishi and I have always cared deeply about education. Post Downing Street, we have put a lot of time and thought into what can we do now that has impact in some way, and we keep coming back to what's been quite central to our lives, which is education. And having done a bit of work around where in education in particular can we add value. And look, let me first say, actually, there's a lot of good work being done by so many incredible people, incredible organizations, online, offline, in the classroom, outside of the classroom, in the world of education, and so thank you for all of that. But when we put some thought into where can we add value, we looked at numeracy, because numeracy is foundational, as is literacy. These are foundational ideas, and while as a country we've made a great deal of progress in numeracy, there is still some further progress to be made, and our view was, let's look at numeracy as something that is not just in the classroom, but something that we can take into the real world as part of everyday living, and make sure that more people feel confident with numbers, so that actually that confidence allows us to all lead more fulfilling lives, and who doesn't want to lead a more fulfilling life? And when we all feel in some shape or form that we are fulfilled, then we can truly create a more thriving society, I think. So part of what we hope to achieve with the Richmond Project is to bring about this culture change around numeracy. As a society, a lot of us will say, do you know what, I'm not a numbers person, or I'm not good at maths, or I'm not a maths person. And I think there's a little bit of an underlying anxiety there. And so with the Richmond Project, there's two things that we hope to achieve in this realm of not being a maths person, let's say. One is we can help understand that actually it's not about maths, but it's about numeracy, and it's about taking these ideas of numeracy and numbers and applying them in day-to-day lives, which we all do anyway, whether it's cooking, whether it's budgeting, whether it's getting a mortgage, paying your taxes, etc. But the second thing that we deeply care about is bringing about this culture change, where we as a society feel comfortable enough with numbers so that it doesn't have to be whether you're a maths person or not, a numbers person or not. We all look at numbers as a tool to lead a better life. So bringing about that shift in attitude, that cultural change, which will take time, but we think is quite important, and not look at ourselves as being a numbers person or a non-numbers person, but really numbers as a means to an end to living a more fulfilling life.